Hello Tech Genius, I am Ravi. Have you ever imagined a place where learning is as dynamic as the technology shaping your world? Then here's a deal. With iMatix, you can make sure the learning is exciting, impactful right from the beginning. You have interactive sessions with expert-led courses. In the world of tech, from data science to cloud computing, it's not just about a session, it's about doing, building, learning by solving real problems. So let's get started. Today we need to discuss about this authorization and policy decision. We discuss about a lot about the authentication right. Authentication. You have discussed how we can give the access to the user. Now we need to discuss about the authorization, like when we need to give the access to the user. Like can we deny the access? What kind of access we can give? Permit, what kind of access they should have? They should have read access, or they should have full real access, or they have only log reading access, or they have only normal user access. All these access how we can give, we'll have to see about it how we can set up all these access into the Forge. We set up all these access to the policies. There is a policy set to provide the Forge provider. If I show you, yes, I've already opened this one. If I go to the authorization, and you will see this policies right, default policy or sunset. Here we can decide to find them different number of policies. These are the policies and resource type of this. Here we set the number of policies. I come to it. This is where we set the policy. If I show you the any given one, if you see that my policy over here which I have created, I'll create one more. Here they have all these features which are like these. Resources with this pattern will be allowed. All the authenticated users will be allowed. The actions will be the post and read and post only. What are their environment? All the resources are given action subjects. We can set what are these features. We'll discuss this one. Basically we discuss about how the policy governing access identity of individual requesting access. And this also policy, this AMO policies lies to the authorization design as well. Such as like to any authorization, like we need to authorize any application or not to deny your access. If the particular user doesn't have access to authorize that applications, or the ForgeRock can deny that. We'll set all these policies. We can set these policies. We have policy sets in ForgeRock. This is a visual diagram for this one where how we protect our policy sources. We are setting these policies. What's happened? When you configure the policy sets to any protected sources, AMO, basically the ForgeRock act as a policy decision point. Policy decision point, where we are setting the policies. The policy decision point will be the AMO because we have set that policy. Right. This AMO, this one request or this policy sets are same. Right. And where the AMO communicates this policy decision to the PP policy informant points. Policy informant point, where the policy will be informed. Policy will be informed on any web application or any external system where the policy will be informed for the user. Right? This current decision, we are applying the policy. If you see, we are having all these policies, resources, actions, subjects, conditions, whatever the conditions, What are the conditions they have? Conditions could be anything. Means conditions could be like the user can be authenticated only by a tree. We have the some users we have authenticated by a tree. Only those we can give the condition. Only the users who can authenticate via tree will have the access to login. That kind of condition, or we can condition between time. Like we can give the time between this time, like to this time, whoever will access it will be able to log in, or whoever will access it will not able to log in. Like that kind of conditions we can give, or we can give the specific DNS name DNS. Like whoever having this DNS means that coming from this DNS only those users will be able to. And that kind of condition we can set in these policies. Response attributes will come to the response attributes on this one, the entitlement. Entitlement is basically I indicate the actions and what kind of response. I like whatever the actions permitted or denied for each resource. That the entitlement means it's check what the access is applied to the user. That is entitlement decision over here. These are the policies we set. These are these request response actions. Subject. These all will help us to set up the policy. Into the system. This polyverse diagram I'm showing is this. All have this pattern over here which I've shown to you on this one. Like summary resources actions subjects. These all we have setting. Next, for example, like one of the major example here is like when AMR denies a request due to failed condition. AMR can send this advice to policy and performance point, and the policy and performance point means where the application can take the decision. For example, suppose user comes to a website after authenticating an email address and password, and which is configured as like if there is some application that requires, say, this user can only access this application when he does the multi-factor authentication. And we have user who doesn't have the multi-factor authentication enabled yet. Having one access like only email address and password access called authenticated level 0. We're having the multi-factor authenticated level called the authentication level increased, that you get a level 1. Right. Whenever it will set up a policy for that application, I suppose a user. When a user tried to log into that application with email and password which is sees, the application sees the authenticate level is 0 only for this user. That can deny the access. Right. When the user is authenticated, we are again with the multi-factor authentication. When his authentication level is 1, then he will have only the access to log into that system. That kind of policy means where we can set up are there. This is one of the example where the policy we can set right. These are the policies that this usually for joke used to enable it for the multiple users. Policies like we're discussing, where we can how the iteration policies that AM determine what kind of access we can give to the user, right? That's basically the policy is. Here we have this type of setup. The policy defines these formats, where it have these resources. Source which access is restricted, such as web pages, restricted mobile page, or any area means. This is just example. Where resources be extended, like for example, if I should go over there, I can go here and policy set. I'll create a new policy set. I'll say local policy. I think it would be. one policy set. I'm going to call policies and policy and create a local policy. And the source type I can give to you. Alright, here we can give any pattern. If you see this is providing we can have more pattern on this one currently. I'll show you where resource type we can have. What is the meaning of these patterns? You can add or update this kind of pattern as well. If I add it and this patterns means like this is a wildcard format. This pattern is a wildcard format where our purpose, the meaning of this one, if I show you here it means this one. This one means that I can actually TPS that we have this one. This one means this actually TPS here. It means whatever we put inside that this one and this one after slash. This is the wildcard format user for this one. Whatever the user who have the resource, this one will have the access to that. The policy will be set for this kind of web page. Right. And now we can give the regular expressions. But all the regular expressions, let's see. If we want to give some other one like question mark, something like question mark, we define something like that. This one also we can give this one. I added. Where this question mark ensures the URL contains any query string at the end. Like that we can set up as this kind of web services, right? Like after this one I will give what? Right. Or I can give this one after that. If I give anything like query equal to 1, 2, 3, or I'll give for this any particular user like this one, right? Just like that one. We can have this, for example, we can save this kind of user. Web page URL, it will be wildcard. It will be open for any. It's just, I'm giving one example. There will be multiple web applications that we need to provide access or deny access for the user. This is the purpose of this resource, URL over there. Right. If I add it, I can remove this one. We need to set up the local policy. Resources we have set up over here. Actions we have. What kind of actions that user can perform, right? Delete, get, add options, batch, post, put. If I give like get only like which comes to them, they read access, I will allow that, right? And if I give post, we can update one and get a new access. It will be allowed. I can give the deny access and allow access. I can deny access. I can give all the access for this user. I have to define, go to the add an action and add this action to apply these policies. I have to find the resources. I have to find the actions, the work that what users can do, the resource such as read a web page or submit a web page like that. And subject conditions is when the policies apply. Subject conditions will come. If you see, if I click over their options, we will see multiple options there. Here if you see multiple options is related to authenticated users. All of this policy will be if I save it. If this policy will be applied to all the authenticated users, whatever the authenticated users we have in the system. Otherwise, if I put is never match, this policy will not be allowed to any of them. And if I go to Open IDJT Connect, then I can provide the client name. This one we will discuss further when we will discuss about the auth policies. This one, if you see this one, we have given the Open ID Connect, right? We'll give the client name and value who this policy will be assigned to, right? When we work on authorization, right, whatever the OIDC client we have, we can give the name and policies. It will be like if you have, we'll create in our future sessions, like here in our auth 2, if I go to this client and I create any client, right? If I get any client, client ID, I get a name, and you got to be anything. It should be localhost, anything like mail. I'll give this one, right, whatever the name over here. I guess I didn't say it. If I go to local policy and go to the subject again, I have created, here it is now. Client, here I have created it. Here I'll give that client name, but this client name maybe I'll give over there. I have to put this client name. I can give this client name over there. This one will be put. This application will be applicable to this client and others with these users and groups. This user and groups will be assigned for the user and groups means whatever the users or groups have this kind of access. When you go to the identities, if I say that, you say the changes, all of this authenticated users. I'll fetch this authenticated users. Save the changes, right? I'm sorry, I didn't come. Authenticate users. Change is right. I have this one if I go to the summary. This authenticated users setting up this one. And this is coming. I am giving all of right. A few environment here. If you discuss all of our thank you and I had an environment condition. If you see we have these number of conditions we can set, right. Active session time. This means if I give this active session time, then it will set a condition for whatever for the maximum duration of session time. We discussed yesterday, right? This policy will be active as soon as the session time is we have permitted for the user. Authenticated level or greater than or equal. What is authentication level is this? One is like greater than or equal when you do the username password authentication, right? That is called as authentication level 0. When you do the multi-factor authentication, then that will go to that. That will say authentication level 1. Right. That is the meaning of the authentication level. 0 will be termed as a username password authentication because a single level of authentication, and level 1 would be because it's a +1 from 0. It will be the multi-factor authentication. That's how the ForgeRock Labs authentication level here. Means if greater than or equal to 0, either user would be authenticated the username and password, but will be greater than 0, he will get access. If I make it 1, then means whoever have the multi-factor authentication means he has to log in with the username and password and then authentication. Then only he will able to perform that. The policy will be applied to those users who can do the multi-factor authentication only. Right. Same way we can do that less, it will be applicable to for both ones. If I give one, it will be applicable to both. Whoever for multi-factor authentication or will do the username and password, and if I give this authentication to my module, instance means like if a user is authenticated by module. Whoever only the user who will be authenticated by module have these policies will be applied to. Right. Authentication by service. Authentication by service means authentication by tree. That is means authentication by service, like whoever will be authenticated by tree would be have only applied to this access. We can give this kind of conditions over there, like current session authentication to them. Like if I give my room like this, my root room, whoever the users present in that root room will have this policy access. I can give the IP for address like this one. I can give whatever from which IP the user is coming. If the user is coming, only this IP will have only this kind of policy access. Same for IP6 and same for auth to scope. And if I give time like time zone, if only whoever will work on this time zone will have this access, this policy access. I see a call about transactions. Transaction is a transaction is like depends upon that. Transition support, and there are different strategies. If you see here, transaction is depend upon authentication to chain, authentication to realm, authentication to module, authentication level. Anything we can set up over here. If you want to test it a little bit for this one, right? Mentioned by the two realm, I wrote and take. I didn't say by gas authentication to multi-realm. Save it. Save changes. If you go into the identities now, right, and you can create a group over here. If I create a group right here, number of identities I can get here. It's saying all authenticated identities. It's all authenticated identities. This one have this all access. If I create a group over here and name and group, the user, the test author is going to give create, and I give members right, and you like anything like I give this test 1, 2, 3, 4. Right now, if you see this one, if I don't, do you test you for currently that we look in, and if you see the privileges is this one. We need to give that real admin access right or cache admin access, log admin access, log read access. Suppose this test one, if I show you, I log in with that test one, you can see I am currently the user profile, only can see the dashboard. What if I give him more access? Right now, I'll go back and go to the members and that test 1, 2, 3, 4. Changes and go to privileges, and I want to right now just have this access, right? User profile and everything. Only I can give him the admin access as well. If I click on it, says and log out. Now I will try to. Of course, just a second should get access. Maybe some other user group. Intermittent. This user. If you see I let it was only user access. Now it has this real access. He can do now is become the AM admin user. Like an AM admin user, he can do anything. This can access whatever that is also we have created. He can see we can give this kind of access. And now if I change his access to other access, now if I go to privileges and remove this one, and if I give him a real read access, and now we're saying very good, best job, because it doesn't have not limited access. He come, if you can see that, but you're not able to work on anything, able to remember. Just see some little authentication, but it doesn't have like earlier. It has a lot of lot of things coming up over here. But he can only have a limited access with this one. They're not able to see it now because I have restricted this access. In the same way we can do this or this access. I can give this cache admin. Manipulate the cache. You can only get log admin. Who can he? If I give the user, he can only read or access the only log files, right? I won't able to do anything else. And admin, federated admin access where all the he can read and write. Access to validation metadata configuration, right? We suppose you're an admin user and you want to give some few others also. You have a big team, right? And you don't want to everything. Make your walk on, you want to divide the work as well, and they provide you team member where you can give. You will be the main AM admin user, and then on the basis of that you can provide the access to those users who can be act as a that they can do on the basis of realm. This user, this particular person will happen. I will take care of whatever will be the created in that realm, like employer in contractor. And we can create 3 realms and you can provide as per that realm access for that user, right? This kind of policy decisions you can decide. Same way we have this. All these policies, you can read about it one by one. They have this REST calls on everything, these policies, condition, tip, type. Read access, all this access that we can provide for these users. Any question till now? But I need to rereading. Really isn't that this one? These are the policies. Basically, you have these policies would be required to set up. Whatever the policy, because it depends, the client can ask, right, see, we only want to give this user policies on. If it is policies, you can create a policy as per the requirements, and then you can those users will have only that policy, right, as I showed you over there that the user can give you. Time, we can set what time as well. We can set up the authentication by service. We can set up the authentication by trees. We can set up the policies to define the policies in our hand. Whatever the policies we have been asked to create, we can create these policies as per the requirement and give the users right. And this identities and all this one, you can have these groups. We can create a group for all these, as only these members will have this access. We can create other privileges. Only those members will have only that much access, like this. But you understand the purpose of these policies, right? Yes, it's funny. First I need to read something and then we'll see. Shush. You can read something, you can do practice, you can go to come to these privileges, add the members and try to do this. Try to have this real madman read access or without full access. You go to that user, do all these things, you will understand how all these policies are working. Sure. We have one more on this resource type here. I have discussed with you all this resource type, right? This URL one, we have just discussed this one. We created URL. We have discussed like this one, right? We're just showing to you. This URL is matching. This is our same resource type. Whatever we set in policy, right? We can set up separately for those patterns over here. These patterns would be work like here the https or example /index_tumml like that, right? Or star. Star means if I give just here again, if I show you here star means if I come here and whatever be there after this one, it will take that matches the URL that will be the white card. Whatever after this URL after slash will be there. It will act as a find web URL. It was a correct URL. You can use this one, right? The port number and everything. Now same for the query string, for whatever will be there after the queries or whatever will be there, it's after the query. Dot star query, because there could be multiple endpoints, right, where we need to access that. What I'll be after this one? The user will. Wildcards will match over there, right? This any console you can see work on this one. These are the wildcards. How we can set up this web server with those, where we'll have this kind of those. Our web URL will follow. This wildcard structure will be allowed or denied if I give this one. I can allow. This allows will be allowed if I want these patterns to be disallowed. I just got. I don't want to allow this pattern. I don't want this pattern. Whoever this web service have this pattern should not read access or should not delete the access, right? I can give this deny access to them, right? Now this is, I guess, this name or details we need to have whatever this pattern, provided we can decide that pattern over here. one pattern, I can create a new URL, same for the different patterns, right, for different pattern. I can provide the actions on it. These actions, this pattern will have these access or not. This is on with the developer hand. Whatever the requirement he would get from the client regarding the policies he can set. This is our mostly overall about the policies and the resource types we have here. You said you will read about it and then ask, right? Or you want to try this policy set to see how that works. We have also the scripted policy. This is the policy we define, right? And you can see these are import policies sets also we have. We can import the policies if we have any. Is going over there. We can explore the policies also sort of the policy. We can export policies into our system. Its policies defined in there. Now it's downloaded like this one. We can import and export the policy. For the importing policies, we need to write the script we're here for regarding the policy site. This is good if you go to the script. We have this scripted policy decision separation search. Scripted policy. And then script and scripted policy decision auto. Second, this should be one policy at this one if you call this one. This is a scripted policy. Here you can write your own policies as well. They are already given the structure. You can amend the structure policies like you can be. Do on the basis of you can write anything, right means for this server only will access, or a country from coming from this IP will have only access. Who have this address where I said these are the example they have given, you can and create the script as per your access workers. The requirement could be like on. Then you need to read to the database on from this user, right? Only these users will authenticate, will have this access. Or you need to connect to the IP and the whoever the LDL IP is having, the active users from LDIP will have this access. You can use this scripted policy design. You can write a script as per the user's details. Here is the policy conditions, how the user's information you can as have to end, create a script on the basis of the requirements and can set the policy decision on that. Either you can use that way, they have said otherwise, you can create or you want to skip right this time. Whatever the requirement could be anything, right? Suppose if you need to write a script, they ask you to get to the policies for the number of users who have some such attribute, right? Who have this attribute. Like that attribute is external attribute. It will be like whoever this user have external attribute will have this access. You can write, you can customize your policies to this one and you can give the messages as well over there. Right? If the user authorization is done, then authorization is worked. The external user authentication is passed or user external authentication not passed. You can define your messages after adding into the scripts. Here we have discussed about the script here. These all are the scripts we have here, but for log, we can rewrite the scripts in two languages. One is JavaScript and other is GroovyScript. What GroovyScript is more related to the Java. Whatever you write, it's already a Java language. If you ever learn, if you know Java before, it will be easy for you to write the changes. On the Groovy is equal to like the Java, whatever if you have experience on Java. A language you can write easily on the Groovy there, the Groovy itself. Use the same Java AP as in Java subclasses. Groovy is equal to like Java, code is like that. JavaScript is like different language that you can use for that one. Whatever the language you are comfortable on, you can write the script on this one. Here they provide us the number of scripts. Right, or you can create your new script as well. Right, any name test. You can write that script and the script would. You can write for anything. You can write for tree. You can write for client-side authentication, server-side authentication config provider. You can write script for or to access this actually. This mostly the scripting part covers. In the deep dive in Forged or Access Management, there are two types of trainings. One is Forged or Access Management for the other, and that is for the excellent deep dive. Deep dive training, what they do, they provide how you can customize that. They provide full training on how you can customize the ForgeRock, right? How you can create a new modules, like suppose that we have a tree, right? We have nodes, we are using the currently whatever the nodes provided by ForgeRock, what we can create new nodes as well, whatever which is not present in the ForgeRock we can have through scripting. We can create new nodes, right? We can customize that. We can customize anything we want. We can customize our or to have access our decision or to see this one. I'm talking about that decision or script for authentication trees, config provider, and similar to exclaim. We can write a script for any of this, authenticate on this any of these services. And they have provided our here. All this I'll try to create a script, one script for that, where this authentication is your node script. Like once you created the script, like they have this script, right? Come to where you will use that one. Script, node script, where if I go over there, go to the trees and can go to my any one, right? Any. Which tree? If I go to my auth tree, and if I am not creating a tree, I'm just telling you a node. We have this node they have talked about. Scripted, non-scripted decision, right? But if I go over there, whatever the scripts of this is the currently authentication region node script, I'll create over there, and whatever the outcome I can give that to. Right, will add sorry to it should be. Update, it will have over there, if you see it have the authentication tree. If I need to create a more script, I can get more as well. I suppose if I go to the script bag, right, I've got the script, the new script, external, what are external authenticated, and the trees. And decision on for authentication trees, and I'll select this one. If I select this one, with what type of script type, then it will I'm able to use for that tree if I create it. If I see outcome is to I need to give this outcome over here, right, and I can update the code over there, like suppose what kind of a tree will suppose I have. Data decision, don't know, right, and or I know what I need. I'm connecting from any external resource or any held up one, right. I'm connected to the LDEPth and held up how to type of attributes. External, we have divided the user, like if a user has external attribute, like we have given attribute, right? User attribute IQ in. I love users data or DB users. We have the user attribute. If user attribute have external, then it will be used for the external users if user attribute as well as if user has. Outcome would be true. Right, if only if this user has outcome will be true, then should be outcome would be false. Right? The changes. This one, I given this attribute output, outcome true or outcome is equal to false. Else if is not, then outcome would be false. If I save this one and I have created this tree right now, if I go back to the tree again, come on. If I go to the tree again, I give the decision node, give the scripted node where I can add the script. And here, if you see, I got one more my script over here, and here I can give what the two outcomes, right? I can give true or false outcome. Whatever the outcome would be false will work for the identity user. I can define those tree over here like this one. This is the script I've created for the tree. Right, whatever this the script decision node apart from the nodes we have created, because earlier we are using the whatever the nodes they have provided, but this aspect this script decision node can accept this. Or customization way of doing it, right? There is not only always, sometimes we need to do the customization as well, right, as per the client requirement, because I am not sure the client requirement. The ForgeRock software always supports directly to the client requirement. Sometimes clients requirements have all they have, all legacy product, or they have divided the users into multiple databases, right? How do you define that? For that, we can write a script for them to authenticate, and then we can use that script in our tree. Then if the tree, we can authenticate those users. That way we can use that this script decision we can use if we need to write a customized code for our client or file for our requirement. The same way we have different script. You can see, you can read about any one, this one or two ones or two token modifications, correct. If we need to do any changes in token modification, the what kind of token we provide, we can give this one. They have already provided most of the code. We can refer it and then we can make available to the changes as per our requirement. Like they are working and give me the exact token would be work on for any attributes, right? Anything like that. Then we have number of device profile. If we want to go for any device matching, right, for any, we want to go to the social authentication like this Facebook, LinkedIn profile they have provided. And our IDC claim. If you want to create a script for the SAML, one will come to that. When I show you how the SAML authentication work, we can discuss this kind of script as well. This is the testing script they have provided. We can refer that or we can create a new one. It's all depends upon us. This one basis of this policy condition, and all these are the scripting we can do in the Forge root. Any question on the script? I know it will be a lot of for this case, but any question how we can use a script in this way for job? You can go through that. The ForgeRock product is very wide, right, that how much you can deep in, it will keep increasing more details, and it also you have started Yes, some knowledge on JavaScript side. I don't. That's fine. If you know you can work on it, that's fine. They can give you a requirement. You can create a script and you can add that. That's fine. Because actually when you started working on a client requirements on a project, that then you can have more exposure on this product. But right now you are learning as a new training person, like you're going to the features, learning features, what these features do, and what the purpose of this one. You can do in practice as much as you can. You're trying to understand the product, right? Once you understand the product and start working on it, you will get a little hands on little better, and you will get different kind of requirements, and I guess you will be easily able to do every work. That's what my one first time I started learning this product. At same time I go to the each feature, I practice it slowly, then I hand on to the different requirements I got. There I worked on the scripts part, I worked on the tree part, all this one. That's how that knowledge has been started. When you started this, for sure, I've been working on this for joke, I guess from last 24.5 years, from the lowest. From 5 and 5 versions, I've been working. First I worked on this 5 version M5. Then I worked on the 6 version and 7 version. All these I have seen on that. This tree is already come from the 5, but more of the 3. They have started working on that from 6 to version. Now they are more to the 7.5 version. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel.